Welcome back to the Abundant Harvest Homestead. I'm Papa Pepper. It's going to be a little different today. But before we get into that, first a word from our sponsor.
This book started as a story that our grandpa used to tell us. We decided to take some pictures to turn it into a book. And I took all the pictures for the book. If you want a great story for your children or grandchildren, you can buy it on Amazon and in our Etsy store. The link will be in the description and in our pinned comment. And if you order it from our Etsy shop, I'll even autograph it for you. See? It even says here I'm the photographer.
That's right, so far we just sponsor ourselves, but we support what we're up to, and we thank all of you guys who sub and like our videos and leave comments too, because that shows that you guys support what we do. If you want, just so I get a better idea of who's all watching, how to kind of gear different things to different people, if you just leave a comment, kind of given the general area you're from, it can be state, it can be, you know, general location, it doesn't have to be your city name, you know, street address, that type of stuff, but just so I know who's watching and that type of thing, get a better feel for our audience out there. But today we're doing something a little different, and it's because of something one of you said. If you char the part of the posts that go in the ground, they will last years longer than the uncharred ones do. So we're gonna burn it. Been working on this for a couple days. It's a terrible day to be working on it today. It's cold, it's windy. I don't entirely like being outside at this point, but the show must go on, so here we go. So I need you to move so I don't smash you. So depending on how much time I have to devote to a project, kind of gauges how much effort I put into it. And unfortunately, when you take shortcuts, when you feel like you need to get something done quickly, a lot of times there's steps in the process that you leave out, which could have worked out a lot better if you would have, you know, completed those tasks, had those steps as part of your process. Right now I'm using some cedar posts from the land as the post to hold up this little shed. Couple things. Number one, this is just an example, but if you take the cedar and you peel this bark off, number one, you got a really good tinder. This stuff is great for starting fires. But number two, it's gonna be better than just dropping these in the ground with this layer on. Another thing what people used to do, you can see it's got this nice red center. Now as the tree gets bigger, this section doesn't get all that much bigger, but that red section in the middle does. And what people used to do when they'd make, you know, fence posts or use them like I'm using them here, is they'd remove this white layer, get down to just that red layer, and then take a broken piece of glass and kind of rub it back and forth to kind of close all of the ends of that wood and kind of have a real smooth, kind of polished surface. A broken jar or something would probably work a lot better than this. But just the example I had laying around, and they'd kind of seal all the ends, and then if you just have this section in the ground and it's sealed up really good, it'll last a lot longer. Another thing is you could use things like honey locust or black locust or Osage orange. Those are really good as well for posts. But recently somebody left a comment and they mentioned if I char the ends that I'm putting in the ground, it's gonna last a lot longer. So I have an opportunity to do that, and because they said something, it kind of brought that back to mind. You know, yes, would these last for years? Yes, they would. But if it can last for a lot longer, why not? So unfortunately, I've already got all this stuff screwed in and put up the way I like it, so I'm gonna leave these. I just am. Later I can always dig a post hole next to it, put up another one and screw it into there instead. It's not ideal, but it can be done. But those two you saw me drop out of the front, those I'm gonna do, and I'm also gonna test out a new tool I recently got for another project. So that's gonna be good because I need some practice with it, need to make sure I know how it works, and I'm excited for that other project too. But here we go. So what I've got here is the INFERNO propane torch. A lot of times if you see like people with campers, you know, they got those small propane tanks. like this. What this does is this hooks up to that, and it allows you to have a fire blasting out the end of here. I do want to try some, I'm not even sure how it's pronounced, it's like shou. It's a way that they would actually use on cedar back in Japan, where they would pretty much burn it and use that as a preservation technique instead of like paint or stain or some other sort of waterproofing. I'm thinking of taking some of the 8-foot fence pickets we have and actually charring them first and then sanding them down so part of it's black and charred and then part of it is hopefully the original pine color, and then maybe staining that, maybe clear coating it, and actually potentially using that as a decor for the walls in our house. So just go over the existing wall with something like that, make it look more rustic, more of a cabin feel. But if I just charred them and put them up, it'd be too dark to use inside our house. So I'm thinking of charring it, then sanding it, and then, you know, going from there. So if you guys do know a good hand sander, at the moment, all I've got is sandpaper. So I'm thinking about picking up some sort of sander. It's gonna come in handy with a lot of woodworking projects down the way. But if you got a good recommendation, that'd be great. So right now, I'm gonna open this up, hook it up to my propane tank, and char the end that's going in the ground for these couple ones here before I put them back in their holes and continue on this project. One thing by way of safety I'm going to mention with this is, you know, I'm about to be shooting flames out of here. Right next to me is a can of gasoline. Even though this is all sealed up, there could still be fumes, vapors escaping from here. If I have a giant fire going right next to it, this could blow up. So be aware of your surroundings, give your work area a look over, make sure you don't have a bunch of flammable materials. There is some leaves and stuff around here, but it's wet right now. Also, there's not a lot of opportunity heading out from here to catch a fire, but you know, sometimes just one spark, you know, one cigarette butt flown out the window, one bottle rocket, whatever it may be, can put hundreds or thousands of acres up in flames. So I'm gonna move this a safe distance away, then I'm gonna fire this up and get started. And probably once I char the ends of these, I've got a couple of the 8-foot fence pickets that they got a nice rustic look anyway. They kind of look like barnwood, but if I'm going to use it inside my house, I want to make sure that any potential bugs or things like that are also not living in there, or seeds, you know, not seeds, eggs of bugs that are going to hatch. So if I choose to go with the barnwood look, I'm probably just going to clear coat and seal the entire thing, trap anything that could be in there, you know, on the inside, hopefully suffocate it out. But I'm going to try this one first, because if I can pull off this look and it works, it's going to be really cool the way I see it, and it's my main goal. This is my first choice, so I'll try those next and just kind of see how that works. But let me get this out of here. So another thing by way of safety is not only did I take the flammable liquid of gasoline and remove it from the area, I actually have a large 6-gallon bucket of water, a good liquid when you're dealing with fire like this sort, to put things out. And I also have a hose bib over there with a hose in case I need that. Although this cold, wet weather may not be good for the best for me to be outside, it's a great opportunity to do something like this because a lot of things are very damp and very wet, so I don't have to worry about them starting fire as much as I would if this was a really dry and thirsty, parched land right now where all this was just extremely combustible. So we've got that working for us. These are looking pretty good. The heartwood, that wood in the center, burns a lot easier than the white stuff on the outside. And I do want to mention too, these were only cut down 2 days ago. So this is very fresh wood. I cut these down Friday afternoon. It's now Sunday morning, maybe early afternoon. So we have that kind of working against us potentially too. But I'm gonna try a couple of these drier, although they've been rained on, these drier 8-foot pickets quick, see what that looks like. Just to get an idea for this other project moving forward. Then I'll drop these back in the ground and see if I can get a roof on here today, maybe start filling it. So this is gonna be a different material in that it's pine. It's also probably treated pine because it's a fence picket. A lot of times when people build with those, they're gonna use treated fence pickets. And it's definitely been dead a lot longer. This was, you know, cut down a long time ago. It was milled, it was treated, it was put up as a fence, and then some time ago for one of the jobs I was doing, I had to remove it. So we'll see how this works. We're gonna see how this does. Oh, that's a good thing too. I'm gonna need a new tank. And just for the record, so you know, it wasn't, you know, 10 or 15 minutes worth of using that propane tank through that Inferno propane torch that caused it to be empty. It was my oldest propane tank on the property, had it for quite a while, used it for a lot of my chickens when we were doing our meat chickens. I'd turn that thing on, get our water up to heat, and help us process them so the feathers would come off more easier and stuff like that. But got another tank on hand anyway because I was planning on doing a lot of this burning in the future, and I may even take my mini barn and some of my other buildings, and rather than painting or staining them or something like that, I may use this method to try to preserve them. I know a couple friends who've done some of that. One on his garage, one on a chicken coop. Looks pretty good, seems to be working pretty good, so we're thinking about that too, right, Bug? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with this too, I've got to say shame on me because I have an awareness of these different, you know, wood preservation techniques, how you can remove that outer wood, get down to the heartwood, I think it's called, scrape that, seal in the ends with, you know, some glass, and then put it in the ground and it'll last longer, right? I have that information, but if I'm not applying it, what good is it? If I'm not getting experience, I have no experience with that, right? Same thing here. This is the first time I ever fired this Inferno up. You saw me take it out of the packaging. I have no experience with using this method to prevent the wood from decaying prematurely. I was aware of the idea, and I've got to say thank you to S. McKee for pointing it out to me, reminding me. Thank you. But shame on me for not doing it in the first place. So on the bright side, when I'm doing things that I'm unfamiliar with, when I'm working on these different projects, by putting it out there, at least it gives you guys a chance to chime in, help some things be better. I'm not going to apply every piece of advice. Many of them are contradictory, right? Can't do that. But I do thank you when you guys take time out of your day, not only watch the videos, but be like, you know what, Papa Pepper? Char the ends of those before you drop those in. Why create more work for yourself later when a little bit more effort now can preserve this entire thing for longer? So I definitely thank you for that, and I've got nothing to say other than shame on me. This is looking pretty cool though. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit up another one and just have a couple prototypes for in the house, and I'm gonna try a couple different things with them. I'll probably do some hand sanding at first, see how that looks, maybe put some spar varnish on there or something, see how that looks. I don't know. I'm gonna burn up the other one real quick and then drop these back in the hole and continue on this. So you guys will probably catch me when they're back in the hole, or I'm dropping them back in the hole and we're progressing with this project. It's cool watching that stuff burn, but I'm gonna save that for myself right now. If you guys wanna watch more of that stuff burning, just rewind the video and check it out again. I'll see you in a minute. Well, good news is I didn't need my bucket of water. Everything went well. As you can see, if I was just putting this up inside the house, that would be really dark. There's a reason that a lot of people have very light colored walls, why white or other off-whites are very popular. So this would be too dark to use in the house, but I think if I can sand it and do some things, it might work really good. Another thing is with those flamethrowers like that, a good use for that is also weed control. A lot of times you get weeds that are growing up, they're going to seed. If you burn up all those seeds, they're not going to come back, and you can actually hit them hard enough with a lot of plants to actually kill the root, as long as they don't have a really deep tap root. So that's a good thing to think about too. A lot of people use them as a weed burner. So I'm gonna drop these guys in. It looks pretty good, and thank you once again for mentioning that to me. That's it's important. So here we go. Not sure if you guys could see that from the GoPro footage. I just, wow. This one here that I burned up this morning, I cut the top off of it and it whipped around and flew right through my wall. Wow, look at that. Man. Yep. Busted. Man. That ain't what I was going for. Those guys are pretty much, yeah. Okay, you know what? I got a couple other ones. I'm just going to replace that right away, I think, and we'll go from there. Not him. He's pretty split. This guy will do it. Man. Can't really pick it out of the lineup right now, so that's good. But I would still rather not have to do those things. It is what it is. Lesson learned. Honestly, maybe I'm just an unreasonable individual, but I really thought I was going to be able to get more done today. I did get some of the cross ones heading up. All these guys are here. They're, you know, they're in place. And I started with the boards running across there that I'm going to screw the metal into. I'm going to do some measurements, calculate some stuff just to kind of evenly distribute it, because the one in the back is going to be square and this one's at an angle, so as you head farther away, there's going to be a greater distance. So I'm going to kind of do a little bit of math before next time I get them up. Even this, you know, being up there on top of there in the cold, I really just wanted to keep throwing flames, you know, and burning pickets and doing stuff like that. But that's more cosmetic stuff for inside the house. Right now I've really got to get this up and running to protect some of my investments, keep track of some of my stuff. Even those beehives I just got from the Redneck Prepper, they're still in the truck. I don't want to just take them out and put them in the open. I'd like to have them covered. So I got a lot of things coming up to put in here, and I've got a pretty cool storage ideas about how to kind of take care of some of my pitchforks, shovels, rakes, and things like that. I really do like thinking outside the box, brainstorming, using free sources, and seeing what we can come up with. And I got some pretty good ideas, so I'm looking forward to sharing them in an upcoming video. We'll see how long that takes, but for now, I'll just give you guys a quick look around here, and we'll shut this down. So here's what it looks like from the top. Not too bad, and hopefully you guys like that footage I took from up in the tree. And then inside here is looking pretty good. And I may put one more post in between here. I'm not sure. I'll see. But overall, I like it. I have high hopes for it. I definitely think once the metal on, it's going to look amazing. And I was even contemplating maybe coming back here and making a lean-to shelter for some of the animals into this area, because we do have Jacob sheep out in that field. I figured I'd give some of you guys a look at these if you're unfamiliar with them quick. Plus, they're just cool to see even if you are familiar with them. These are some of our year-old rams, Thunderkill, Apocalypse, and Jacob. Hey guys. They got some crazy horns. Yeah, what's going on, buddy? Apocalypse, how you doing? And then our four-horned ewe, Crazy Horns, is out here too. How are you, baby? You're doing good. Yeah. Crazy cool sheep. But thank you guys for stopping by. Yes, it's gonna be better because I burned that stuff up. And yes, shame on me for not just doing things the right way in the first place. Appreciate you guys calling me out politely and nicely. That definitely helps, but we'll see you next time. Papa out.
Thank